GamerCast Network.
Hey. All right. It's a video game show. It's a video game show. It's not a game show about videos. It's a video game show.
Welcome to the GamerCast Network video game show for Sunday, January 25th, 2009. This is episode 126. I'm Chad, and this week for the roll call, a question from Mike. If you had to choose a video game character to kill you, who would you pick? And picking nobody is not an option. And joining us this evening is Phil.
How about Triple H from the WWE? If I was in the WWE video game and a bad wrestling move gone wrong where I just happen to die.
So you want to die between Triple H's legs in a failed, what the hell was his move called? Pedigree. With your head between his legs.
Oiled up man love. That's
And also joining us this evening is Tom.
Now, you guys are going to give me a hard time because I'm kind of cheating, so I'm changing the question. So it's not who I want to kill me, but who do I want to die as? And I was going to pick Tommy from the game Prey, because in that game you don't really die. When you die, you just kind of go to the Native American spiritual world, and that just doesn't seem that bad.
You just go to some casino then in northern Colorado.
Yes.
I respect that.
But what he said, though, was, I understand the question was this, but I actually answered this. If somebody was going to give me money, I would like it in $10 bills.
So,
And next on the list is Keith.
I'd have to go with Jigglypuff. It would sleep me to death. And that's a pretty cool way to go.
Also joining us is Ivan.
Okay, since I didn't care for the question and I'm not allowed to say nobody, I would pick somebody like Toad, because he's a mushroom. And if he were to knock on my door and say, "Hi, I'm here to kill you," I would just step on him. Because I think I could take Toad.
Okay, but what if you know you're going to die? It's going to have to kill you.
You are either going to get smashed in the head with a mace and have your throat slit by some sweaty executioner, or could be killed by a video game character. But you're going to die regardless.
So you really want Toad to come there and just paw you
Just jump up and down on my head.
forever until you die? Do you really want that to happen to you?
Yes,
Okay, that's fine.
that's how I want to go.
Okay.
What is that noise even? What is that supposed to be?
That's Toad.
Can I choose like Princess Toadstool sitting on my face?
No, that's my answer.
Damn.
I wouldn't want anyone with a stool in their name to sit on my face. Thank you.
I am from Cleveland, and we like our steamers, so...
So, Bob, was that your answer, Princess Toadstool? Or...
No. My answer, actually, as I shouted during Phil's answer, was being smothered by Chun-Li's thighs, because I think there are enough fanboys to agree with me that would be a
Nice.
acceptable way to go. You got sweaty executioner guy behind her, and then she's like, or I could just snap your neck with these pristine thighs. And I'd be like, you know what? That's okay.
And finally joining us is X, Microsoft Xbox Community Manager, Chris Palladino.
Lara Croft. A Lara Croft bear hug.
See, I don't think she bear hugs. I think she's just going to shoot you in the face with a...
Quiet there, Toad.
You're acting like he's going to resist. And I think she has plenty to smother him with, so we're okay.
See, all you guys pick things that are... The death would be hard and not very pleasant.
Dude, Jigglypuff
man.
sleeping me to death is hard.
Yeah.
That's peaceful.
You're assuming I wouldn't enjoy it. See, that's the problem.
It's still gonna hurt.
You're assuming I wouldn't enjoy it.
Fine. Okay. You enjoy it. I would just take a quick shotgun to the head and end it quickly.
By Triple H.
Dude, between Triple H's legs.
That's not
Wait. So he's got Phil's head between his thighs, slowly crushing his skull, and he pulls out a shotgun and shoots Chad.
What a way to go.
This week on the GamerCast Network. On this week's show, the Retro Force Go crew discusses everything Ninja Gaiden. Which of the 3 original NES classics is the best? Why the heck are these games so hard? What adventure will Ryu star in next? And seriously, does Irene have the worst video game hair of all time? On the Sarcastic Gamer Pink Show, the ladies let the cat out of the bag about how to get your significant other into video gaming. Check out the Post-Game Report to get all the facts. Post-game. On Sarcastic Gamer, GTA 4's DLC has finally arrived, and don't miss a huge warning about Tomb Raider Underworld. Discover the community that brings you all these great podcasts and more. GamerCastNetwork.com.
Next topic.
Moving on, first order of business. So how are things going, Chris? I'm sure people want to hear.
They're going.
Real quick, for those that don't know, the Gamerscore blog and the whole Xbox community team has been let go by Microsoft. So that includes you, Chris, and Nelson from Achievement Junkie, who was on the Gamerscore blog team, is now jobless as well.
Yes, and Tony Hines. Sarah, Dirty Diva, was a month ago or so. Unrelated, but, So Microsoft's going through some layoffs. I think there was 1,400, Tom, or something like that?
1,400.
1,400, and there's supposed to be 5,000 more over the next 18 months or something like that. We were one of the first. It was the first time Microsoft ever laid anybody off, so I'm proud to be part of this historic, momentous event.
First round draft pick, man. There's
your example of being picked first is not so much a good thing.
Correct. Tons and tons and tons of Twitter messages and Facebook messages and email and live. And I want to thank everybody for all the support, all the community guys and the other companies. Electronic Arts and Sony have both been extremely cool. So
what are your plans now?
Play WoW. I'm going to try and get to level 80 in World of Warcraft since I have a little bit more free time. Kind of try and see what my next moves are while taking a bit of a vacation. It was cool that we had a Seattle PI, the local newspaper.
Private investigator?
I don't know what it stands. Maybe it is private. And they were like, yes, Triple H could kill Phil pretty easily.
We have the diagram right here.
But they did an article and they mentioned us, so that was cool. It's cool to have that amount of support, and a whole bunch of other people got let go that day, including a lot of guys from Black Box Studios, EA. So I feel slightly guilty that we were some of the ones mentioned by name, and people have been getting laid off in the games industry for the last couple months. A lot of the 1UP guys got let go, so it's just generally not a good time. So this whole video games are recession-proof. I can vouch that is not true. So I'm back here with you.
Glass of Coca-Cola right here, brother. We haven't moved it since the last time you were here.
Well, thank you. It's completely solid.
That's right. But bacteria-free, that's one of the wonderful properties of Coca-Cola.
Next topic.
Started playing a little bit more PlayStation this week.
Gotta get my resume up to date. Hog some PlayStation time.
I got Resistance and Valkyria Chronicles, I think it's called.
That's like a strategy role-playing game.
It's super cool. It's it reminds me of kind of HeroClix, where each side has action points, command points, and then you pick your units. I think there's over 50 classes, Final Fantasy-esque. Then when you select it, it goes to a real-time, third person, where you run up and you sit behind your bag, and then you hit the trigger to go into aiming mode, and you aim at the enemy, and then your character shoots. So it's sort of like Final Fantasy Tactics real-time. Seems really, really fun. It's got really high reviews. The Metacritic is, 80 or 90. I forget what it is. And it's got a really cool art, and it's a really deep story that I skipped. I don't care why I'm here fighting. I just want to shoot things.
But it is an action game at its heart.
It's an action sort of strategy. I mean, it's not just a shooter. It's not a run around Gears of War style and blow everything up. It's tactics and planning and flanking, and I would recommend it for strategy game fans. Val, I don't know how you pronounce it. Valkyria Chronicles. It's Valkyria.
See, I hate that when they take what word it should be and just change 3 letters because something's copyrighted.
Because we know what Valkyrie is.
And you were also trying out Resistance there, the new one too.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to throw that one in. I attempted to play it earlier and ended up playing Little Big Planet because that game's really good. The PlayStation has been around. Yeah, it's going to seem like I'm making my next job pitch now. The PlayStation's been around. I will openly admit I still have more fun with my Xbox 360, but there are some really solid PlayStation 3 games that if you have a PS3, you should check out.
One real quick question. For the Little Big Planet, do you find yourself making your own levels or just playing everybody else's levels?
Making your own levels in Little Big Planet is like making your own levels in any game. I mean, we made levels for Doom way back in the day, and then I made a couple levels for Unreal Tournament. But other than those 2 instances, it's just too much effort. There's so many people making better stuff than anything I would ever make. All the tools are there. I just don't feel like spending hours and hours to make my dorm room in college that you can run through as Sackboy, because no one cares.
Sackboy?
Yeah, that's what the character is called in the game, is Sackboy.
That's nice.
No.
Yes.
You didn't know that, really?
Oh, no.
Subsequently, that's also the name given to the finishing move Triple H gives Phil.
I wish I could kick him off the call.
Next topic.
I downloaded and played Galactrix this week.
Galactrix, the new Puzzle Quest one. They had a PC demo that came out.
What did you think?
I really liked it. It's your typical puzzle game, but it's got that different feel to it because you're using the hexes and not just a typical square. There's a little more strategy involved based on the direction that you move the hexes in. I really like that concept.
I played the demo as well. I don't know how popular it will be if people are tired of Puzzle Quest, that style of gameplay. Because I don't know if this really adds a lot more to it with just, yes, there are hexes now. You have a ship, and the ship has a new defensive system, so you kind of have shields, and there are ways to build those back up while playing the game. That's one of the big changes. So if you shoot somebody, you have to cut their shields down first, and they can actually build those back up, so battles might be a little more drawn out. But if you got burnt out in Puzzle Quest, you probably really wouldn't pick up Galactrix.
Chad and I played it at PAX. It's different enough to be different. You know, it's not the same game, but it's enough like Puzzle Quest that, yeah, it's like one of the biggest mistakes I ever made. I never finished Final Fantasy VIII because I started playing it immediately after finishing Final Fantasy VII. And it's just like, well, yeah, I need something different now.
I just think that the decision that they made to go different with it, because Puzzle Quest, you could pitch it to the sort of the non-hardcore gamer in the house and say, oh, look, this part's just like Bejeweled. And everybody understood what that meant. With Galactrix, it's circular and it's hex-based, and the direction in which you make your matching 3 or 4 or 5 gems affects the way that new gems slide in from the sides of the board. It just seems like added complexity for complexity's sake. It's just like, man, we needed something different. We can't do Bejeweled again, and we don't want to do Hexic, which would have been sort of a logical choice. You see it and you think, oh, this is just Hexic, but it's not. It's a little too complicated, and I worry that the hardcore guys that loved Puzzle Quest, so we'll all like Galactrix quite a bit, but I think that they may have wanted to go the other way to sort of open the doors a little more, because Puzzle Quest, it's an amazing game. All of us have heard of it, but if you go into Kmart, the mom standing there at the checkout line probably hasn't heard of it, and this isn't going to do anything to help that. It's not going to get wives and girlfriends to try this thing out. At least people sort of understand, oh, okay, it's a dude and he's fighting some sort of dragon, and it looks like Bejeweled here, and then it gets all complicated because I got to go buy swords. This is a ship weapons and different types of shields and bombs, and then this got this weird hex thing, and it's just, I wonder if they just overcomplicated it for no reason.
Next topic.
I don't like space games.
Really? But you like Aliens.
Aliens and Terminator are the 2 exceptions, but those are the only 2. Universally, sci-fi, space, advanced technology from the year 3030 or whatever, it's all made up in pseudoscience, and it pisses me off to no end.
I think that's part of the reason I didn't care for Mass Effect. If Mass Effect took place in a fantasy land with dragons and swords and knights and crap, I would have liked it. Of course, then it would have been like Oblivion, which is part of the reason I liked Oblivion so much. My exception is like Star Wars is kind of sci-fi, but if you look at Star Wars, it's actually fantasy in space, kind of.
The Force is the magic.
Right, and they use swords, and there's monsters. They're not necessarily, just alien beings. Given that, Star Wars is about close to sci-fi as I actually enjoy. Star Trek I can't stand.
It almost seems like the stuff with the super fleshed out lore and background, because Tolkien sort of set the stage for what fantasy needs to be, and not a lot of people have strayed from that. Even World of Warcraft, where their zombies look very different, they're still sort of zombies. They still come out of the ground. They still make weird noises. When you say troll, everyone knows what that is. In space stuff, all the races are named some stupid thing like Ferengi.
Impronounceable thing with a lot of apostrophes and Ks.
This needs more Ks!
Everything's got K's, Q's, and Z's in it, like the most unused letters of the English alphabet, and like every name begins with either a K, Q, or a Z.
Yes, and none of the aliens have lips to pronounce anything with Z's in it anyways.
Right. Exactly.
I'm trying to think what's an original universe, because even things like Shadowrun is still Tolkien-based with elves and trolls. Like,
still maintain that Warcraft and World of Warcraft are some of the most derivative games ever. The only reason they're good is because they just kind of ran with it. Nagas are there. They existed in D&D long before they existed in Warcraft. Wrath of the Lich King. I mean, liches were the biggest, baddest things in D&D long before they were even in Warcraft. They don't really invent anything. They just take what's there and what works and, push it as far as they can take it, which is a good strategy because the familiarity is what brings people to the game in the first place.
Which is why 11 million people play it, because it's familiar to those casual people. You're not going to pick someone off the street and say, would you be interested in playing a game with Ferengi and the Krach? They would be like, what? Or you would say, hey, here's this game over here. It's got trolls and elves, other such things that you're familiar with. And I've heard of those things. I might give that a try.
And even with stuff that we don't like, so Star Trek, it sounds like we universally don't really like. It sounds like maybe Chad and Tom do, but we know what a Vulcan is. So when you say that, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, but you know what a Vulcan is? It's just an elf.
It's a guy with pointy ears. Yeah, they're just elves.
They've got pointy ears, they're extremely intelligent, and they live a long time. That's an elf.
They're kind of androgynous and stoic.
Right. Elves.
And it's funny because I blame MMOs for doing this and video games in general for you end up with your classes regardless. You end up with your tank. You end up with your blaster, mage, wizard guy. You end up with your healer type. There's always like the slim ninja elf guy. There's always the big brute Nordic guy. Everybody takes on their role just to get a group that's well balanced. You always end up with like the same 5 classes regardless of what you call them. You're going to need some guy to stand in front and get pounded in the face. You're going to need some guy to sneak around and stab people. You're going to need some guy to heal somebody. You're going to need some guy who can take out large groups of creatures, and to compensate for that, you have to make him weak. Oh, now he's a wizard. Right. Because you're never going to have the guy who can blast things from afar with fireballs and lightning and be super tough and be able to stand in front, because then that's just like Dark Side.
Well, then it becomes a single-player game. It's like Oblivion.
Exactly.
Then it becomes Oblivion.
We've come full circle. All right, so it's decided. Oblivion is the perfect single-player game, and classes are the perfect multiplayer game. Solved.
I'm still working on Vulcans or elves. Yeah, they are.
I defy you to come up with something that proves the contrary.
And Klingons or orcs.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
much.
Yeah.
What's a Wookiee? An orc?
Yeah. They fulfill the same role.
Wookiees, I think, might be more ogre.
Jawas are like halflings or gnomes or something. We've just come to a saddening realization, I believe.
So, here's a question I admit out of ignorance. Is Tolkien actually credited with coming up with trolls and orcs and elves?
He's the one who took all the different popular things from the cultures of the Europes and kind of just threw them all together.
The only reason I ask is because it does kind of all come back to those kinds of creatures. You can credit a kind of a time and a location, but not necessarily a person, which is why lots of stuff comes back to that kind of thing, because they're just stories that have been told since before anyone can remember.
Yeah, can you credit Tolkien for dragons? I mean, there's just stuff that's always been there.
No, dragons were invented by the first guy who found a Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton and went, holy what the hell just died?
Next topic.
I did play Crystal Defenders for the iPhone. It's kind of what they call a tower defense game, where you have a path and monsters start at one end and go to the other, and your job is to put guys in between to stop them. It's actually pretty decent. It's a Final Fantasy. The thing is, the gameplay is fantastic. The interface is crap. It's like $6 or $8 or something like that. I'm still playing the free version because it's like I can't make that jump because the game is so much fun, but the interface is such crap. Take an iPhone, which is taller than it is wide, and you cut it in half, and the top half is the screen, and the bottom half is like a gigantic controller. And it's like, what were they thinking? You have an entire screen that is a touch panel, and you have to touch the touch screen up arrow, down arrow, left, right arrow to move things around. It definitely was a port from the iPod, where, you don't have a touch interface. And it's like they ported it to the iPhone and just took the iPod click wheel and virtualized it and put it in a touch screen. And it was just like not a lot of development time put behind the interface.
I think it was let's hurry up and get this out before Christmas, because wasn't it rushed out at the very last second?
It did make it in before the holidays, and now if they update the interface and make it all touchscreen so that you can drop a character on the screen by clicking on where you want to put him instead of pushing left, right, up, and down, I will definitely buy it. Until then, I don't know. Of course, it's kind of a catch-22. If people all feel the same way I do and nobody's buying it because the interface sucks, then they're going to say, well, this isn't selling well and we're not going to bother revising and updating it.
Get Field Runners instead.
Field Runners is crap.
What?
I do have Field Runners and I don't like it at all.
Wait, Field Runners is for what?
Field Runners is an iPhone tower defense game similar to desktop tower defense, where it's not a preset path. You create the path by placing down towers. And it's like $5 or something, and it's amazing. And you're the first one I've ever heard say anything negative about Field Runners.
The difference between the two type of games is one is, you're right, one has a predetermined path, and Field Runners is completely open. My problem with Field Runners is the best way to finish a level is to create a path that looks exactly like the predetermined path that you'd play in another game.
Try Tap Defense. It's free, and it is predetermined paths.
And I do have that, and it's my second favorite. The reason I like Crystal Defenders is because you actually use guys. Instead of towers, they're guys. And the warrior-type guys will actually move from where they're stationed to attack. Plus, it's in the Final Fantasy world, so you have your black mages and your archers and your berserkers.
Are we the only two people with iPhones out of curiosity?
Can't believe you actually use your phone as a gaming device. Both twits.
If your phone was as
Horrible
good a
people.
gaming device as the iPhone is, you would do the same thing.
It's not as good as a DS, so don't get me wrong. The DS has better games. The difference is I need my phone anyway. I like to have the ability to take pictures of weird things I see in stores. I like to listen to music, and I don't want to carry 17 devices. So the games are slightly worse than DS games. They're way cheaper than DS games, and it's everything I have, and I just put it in my pocket and bring it with me. I got rid of all the other junk. I don't have a DS anymore because you name a game on the DS, there's a game for the iPhone that's in the same ballpark. And even if it's only fun for 3 hours, that's fine, because if I'm sitting somewhere for 3 hours, I'm going to play a real system.
Next topic.
So let's try and do one news story this week. NPD released the numbers for the overall game sales of 2008 across all platforms. And this is also across all versions of a game. So if Madden 09 is on the list, that means they added together all the sales for all 11 versions of Madden 09. The one for the DS, the one for the 360, etc. The top 5 are... We Play was number 1 at 5.28 million sold. Number 2 was Madden NFL 09 at 5.25 million sold. Then Grand Theft Auto 4 at about 5.22 million sold. And then Mario Kart with the wheel at 5 million. And finally Call of Duty World at War with about 4.5 million sold. Thing is, the Wii Play isn't really much of a game. It comes with a Wiimote, so it's really a pack-in kind of game. But by them, it's still considered a game. Note that it came out in 2007. Number 1 selling in 2008.
That's actually not impressive then. So there's 11 versions of Madden, and it sold less across all those 11 versions than Wii Play, which is available for only one system.
Well, the thing about Wii Play is it came with an extra Wii controller, which I think is the main reason why people were buying that.
Well, and that's why Wii Sports is a bad example of top-selling games, because you get it automatically when you buy a Wii.
Although I'm kind of surprised to see Call of Duty World at War on there.
People get angry about all this, oh, every game is the same and they just make sequels all the time. Well, that's why, because look what sells. The sequels. Madden sells, World at War sells because it's the next Call of Duty game, StarCraft's going to sell. And then when things come out like Mirror's Edge and things come out like Dead Space.
That don't sell.
Yeah, both of those are extremely great games. Sorry, I'm off my originality soapbox. I just get angry when people complain and then well, so what are you playing this weekend? Oh, Call of Duty. Well, then stop complaining.
I'm not playing Call of Duty.
What are you guys playing these days?
Make my computer go. Me and Chad played all today.
Can you get through a whole level of Left 4 Dead?
No.
Did it fail that test, by the way, or did it pass?
No, it passed with flying colors. So I ran the N-Tune adjust all my bus speeds for optimal stability thing that ran for 3 hours, and it ended up upping my PCI Express bus speed by like 15% or something, which was pretty significant. So I'm hoping that does something.
It's not Left 4 Dead the only problem. Other things are crashing as well.
Yeah, so it's probably the motherboard. I mean, we both know that, but I'm trying to avoid getting a new motherboard.
You know, you sit here and you hear all this nonsense and you wonder why PC gaming isn't doing everything that it could be. Because I don't want to bother with that. I just want to put the disc in and go. Did you change your bus speeds? I'll tell you what, you could just have the computer.
Yeah, again, I reiterate, PCs, though, are like, building your own car. It's not for everybody.
Beyond that, I know people have complained lots and lots that, hey, games crash, do all this voodoo magic to make things work. I've never really had to do that.
It's really just me. Honestly, I'm the one who always gets these problems.
I've been doing PC gaming now for like almost 30 years. I mean, I've never had major issues. I mean, back in the day, yeah, back when things were archaic, but nowadays, in the past 10, 15, nothing's really been that hard.
It's surprising to me, too, because everything just kind of fits. You just buy all the parts, you plug them in, everything has their slot of where they're supposed to go. Everything recognizes everything else, and as long as it's not 20 years old, it all has the drivers and everything. You don't really have to do much.
I'm surprised PC gaming didn't die in like the pre-2000s, because it was hard back then to make PCs go.
True.
You have men like Boris to make computers go.
That's right. Yes. Come to back room.
The thing that kept PC gaming going back then, when everything was a pain in the ass, was it was the only place to play multiplayer. It was the only game in town if you wanted to play with other people.
And realism and graphics.
You're right, and you needed the power of a PC to play Doom. Now you play Doom anywhere.
And now you don't play Doom because, God, it's so boring compared to everything else.
Yeah. I mean, if it wasn't for real-time strategy games and massively multiplayer online games, I wouldn't play the computer either. Because Left 4 Dead is a much better game on the PC, hands down, no doubt. But we don't play it because Bob can't get it to run. I was like Ivan, basically saying, if we actually decide to play Left 4 Dead, I'll buy it. But until then, nah. And Success. So far, you picked the correct journey.
To date, Phil will be playing World of Warcraft or something. Phil's like, all right, I'm going to go play Left 4 Dead. And then, he comes back 20 minutes later and he's like, nobody showed up. If this was Raven Shield, where night after night we all played it together, I would go buy it. But because of Bob's issues and because of everything else...
It's all my fault!
Yeah.
I am the downfall of PC gaming.
Bob and his issues.
I still haven't heard that we have reliably played more than just once. And I don't want to buy another game where I'm going to play it once or twice and then never pick it up again.
No, I wouldn't get it. I mean, if it's based on me and my thing, I honestly, what would fix this would be me buying a new motherboard and reinstalling, and everything would probably work fine. And I'm not going to do that. Let's see if I got it to work, because I haven't tried it since I fixed it.
Wait, now?
Yeah, I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to do it now. It's top of conversation. Oh, you guys go ahead. I'll play. That's cool.
Next topic.
Oh, he did. He just jumped in. Look, there you go.
This might take like 20 minutes. You might as well just keep going. Let me turn the audio down so I can hear.
Does somebody want to give me an intro to the mailbag real quick?
Mailbag! Left 4 Dead style.
Hi, Gamercast. This is Animan. First of all, sorry for the bad mic quality. This is an old Nintendo 64 Talking with Pikachu game mic. I just wanted to get your guys' ideas on the new Prince of Persia game. I played the Sands Times games back a long time ago, but I never played the very first one. I'm wondering if you guys have played it, and what are your ideas on the new one? If you like it, you don't like it. Thanks.
It's good. It's fun. I would recommend that you wait for it to come to $40. It's difficult. It's like a twitchy kind of...
by shooting her in the chest.
I thought they had a rule. Didn't we have a rule?
This is show-worthy, though.
Now, Chris, you said you found it difficult. Really? Have you played the older Prince of Persia games?
This is difficult. That was stupid. The old one I wouldn't bother. Like, walk, walk, die, walk, walk, die. You're talking about the old 2D side-scrolling...
First off, there was a 2D side-scrolling one, which was one of the hardest ones out there. Yeah, and I love that one because I love the stupid, crazy jumping puzzles. Then there was Sands of Time, which was like the second time they went to 3D about, 6-7 years ago.
That's the best one in the series.
Yeah, I like that one a lot, too. I thought it had the best balance between the jumping puzzle difficulty and the death penalty. The problem I have with the new one is it feels like you can never lose. Because even when you do something stupid and die, you revert back a couple seconds. In Sands of Time, the balance was there because you could save yourself by rewinding time in that game up into a point. And then you would eventually die out and you have to start all over again in that room. With the new Prince of Persia, I don't like the fact that it's really too easy. No matter what you do, you can always come back to life 2 seconds beforehand.
But it could rewind you 45 seconds and you have to do these 3 hard jumps in a row again.
There are some longer sequences, but grand scheme of things, I like the older one better because I do like those hair-wrenching moments.
Tom brought up Prey earlier. That's the only other game I could think of that you don't die in. Everybody said that Prince of Persia was so revolutionary because you don't die, but Prey did it a couple years ago. Did you have the same problem with Prey because you never died?
I started playing that one. I never really enjoyed it. I didn't like the fact that it was too easy. The challenge wasn't there. If I'm not getting aggravated, sometimes I don't have fun. Yeah, it sounds weird, doesn't it?
Wow, so you're one of those guys.
I think I like you less.
To be honest, though, I do find the new Prince of Persia fun. Something's missing there by not having that whole death penalty hanging over your head.
What price should you purchase it at, according to Chad?
See, I'm right along with you, $30 or $40. I don't like buying used games, but this one was used for $30 from GameStop, so I said that's what I feel is the right range.
Next topic.
Bob, how is Left 4 Dead treating you?
Seems all right. Tom, are you on?
I can't get in the game. It keeps saying LAN server restricted.
You two are well, I need to test it in multiplayer, or what the hell is the point?
It keeps saying LAN server restricted to local clients.
All right, let me try again. Campaign, local server.
No, don't do local.
Oh, it's that C.
It only gives dedicated and local server.
Your error exists between the keyboard and the chair, sir.
Yes. What? I thought dedicated meant I don't get to play.
Dedicated means that it's sort of creepy because it won't ever let you break up with it.
Are you sure you wish to leave the game? You're not going to leave the game.
When you reboot, it just starts automatically. Welcome back. I've been waiting for you. Dedicated's fine. It's going to look for a dedicated server running out on the internet somewhere. The problem with this is Valve is trying to sort of get into the mainstream now, is my opinion.
This is why cross-platform gaming sucks, because you have to make stupid compromises.
Exactly.
And then suddenly it becomes confusing for everyone, where both console people are unhappy and PC people are unhappy.
Because I'm like, dedicated server. Dedicated server means I'm going to get a DOS window that's going to sit in the corner and tell me when people join. And I run that on a Linux box that sits over to the side. That's the dedicated server.
So yes, gone are the days of the box that says TCP/IP and it just expects you to type numbers in.
That was the easy. That's the thing. These people understood what you were doing. Because I hate it what these studios are doing. Don't water down PC gaming. Allow PC gamers to keep it the way it has worked successfully. See, it sucks now, and it sucks now because you guys are watering it down.
Right now, Tom.
Out of curiosity, though, one of us has had the opportunity to fix that problem, and he didn't. You were the only one that has worked on a professional game, so I'm blaming you.
By the time I got there, the game was done.
Your name was in the manual, dude. Therefore, you are the downfall of PC gaming.
I was playing Left 4 Dead the other night with Cypher, and we had to seriously wait at least 5 minutes for the game to automatically find a server suitable for us to play on. It was me, Cypher, Zeus, and Fuse.
It's like a professional wrestling tournament or something. Cypher, Fuse, Zeus, and Phil. I choose to go against Phil.
Yeah, I know he'll let me put his head between my legs.
And give him the old sack boy move.
And that was Video Game Show episode number 126 for Sunday, January 25th, 2009. Any ham sandwiches or Shattered Dream pies to give to the world peoples?
Ham sandwich to Chad for not messing up the date today.
Shattered Dream Pie to everyone that was affected by the economy.
This week for the GamerCast Network Gaming Nights, they're playing Halo 3 on Friday. For all the details, go to the GamerCast Network forums at gamercastnetwork.com/forums. And as usual, send your comments, questions, queries, concerns, or roll call question to the mailbag at mailbag@videogameshow.org. Skype us at Video Game Show, or call us at 320-300-GAME. That is a standard long-distance call, and all normal fees apply. And that's a wrap. Good night. You guys playing there?
Yep.
No.
Hasn't crashed
I'm
yet.
listening to you.
Tom and Bob, did you finally get in the game?
Are you in, Tom?
Yes.
Seems like you're in.
That's what she said. It's a picnic.
Yes, she did.
And then